I was trying to find the right verses to have this discussion, but I'm not finding them exactly. I mean, 1 Corinthians chapter 7 is talking all about marriage. And then I'm going to another verse in 2 Corinthians talking about being unequally yoked. Or did I lose that one? I think it's somewhere around here. We'll get to that. So anyway, I was thinking about talking about this lately because I met someone at we had a store remodel, and it was a lot of work, and it was crazy. It was kind of scary. Lots of weird things happened. My store looks really good now, except the floors. They just can't get the floors right. They're still hideous. But during the remodel that first day, there were all these people from another store, same company, that they volunteered to come and visit our store. I had a connection to these people, all of them. I liked all of them. They were from a store in Genoa, Ohio, I think. Or is that Michigan? I don't know. Genoa, it's somewhere nearby. But interesting people. They, and when you have people from a different territory come and visit your store, they come in with these attitudes like, these people are pathetic. Look at how they did this. It's unacceptable. It's not up to code. What are you thinking? Like, their business platform is to older people, like older. Hello, I'm going to buy an Easter basket for $47. Oh, it's quite quaint, and they'll pay that, and they make their money that way. And their store is probably just super beautiful looking, probably every aisle is like perfect, and every night it's like magnificent. Everything's straight and aligned, and just that usually doesn't happen at my store because my clientele is more like, hey dog, where the dog food at, dog? Oh, okay, I don't want that one. And he throws it on the ground. He's like, I'll take this one though. I'll put it on the shit. Oh, it spilled out. Oh, let me grab another one. Thanks, dog. See it. That's pretty much my clientele. So it's a different situation for me to, I have quite a different range of personalities. He's not the only person I deal with. I do have some older ladies that, do spend a lot of money and that kind of thing, and I have middle-aged people. I have really annoying demon brat children that come in and I have to chase them out, I have a lot of different people to deal with versus those people in Genoa having to deal with just older people. That's their business platform, and that platform expects a top-notch, perfectly arranged store. Unacceptable is there's one crumb upon this surface. That's their standard. And I met these people during the remodel, and pretty amazing people. I really got along with this older guy. He lost all respect for me, though, because of two of my lazy workers. Then he hated me at the end of the 2-week period that he was there. So, but I got to work with this older guy for a while, and he was starting to like treat me like his son or something, but then he lost all respect for me once he met my two worthless workers that we ended up getting rid of, thankfully. But sorry, not worthless. That's a little it's a little harsh, but you know, bad workers that were just standing around, and he pointed it out to me and he said, "That's your fault," you know. So he hated me then. But anyway, the other people there, these Genoans, that's what I like to call them. Um, there was a brother and sister, and then there was another guy, and I felt like the two guys, like I knew them, like I had met them before. And I felt like I had a connection to them, but I never got really the opportunity to really say anything to them. It's kind of sad. And then, but the girl there says the sister of the guy. Um, yeah, that's the subject I want to talk about because this lady is probably the most attractive lady I've seen in years. I don't know. Pretty young though, so you know maybe that's inappropriate, but I don't know. And I felt like I knew her, you know, like all of these people from Genoa. I felt like I knew them. It was a very strange 2 weeks because I'm trying to decipher, you know, I'm asking God like, how do I feel like I know these people and I don't know them, and you know it as far as their behavior and their personalities, you know, quite a bit different from me. And I don't think they really believed in God. It was God blanket every um, 2 seconds with them, and uh, lots of profanity, lots of sex jokes every 2 seconds. But you know, I was like in love with this girl. Like she was just, I don't know. I don't know why I was so attracted to this lady. And then you bring it back to God and you ask God, well, God, is this, you know, is this what you want for me? You know? And, you know, I think she was, I mean, not to, you know, like, Alex, you're so attractive. Of course, every woman is interested in you, obviously. You know, nothing like that. But I think she was kind of, you know, hinting a little bit at me. But of course, I screwed it up. I don't know how to talk to anybody. So, but then you bring it back to the Bible and you ask that question like, can I or should I be with somebody who's has no interest in God, you know? But I mean, that's just a surface level. Maybe she does have an interest, but maybe um, around profanity and sex jokes her whole life. And I think she mentioned that her father was in prison. So, you know, that's what she's experienced in her life. But maybe she does have an interest in God, but she's never been able to express that or explore that because of the people she's been around her whole life. Her brother was, they were all kind of similar. They were all kind of boisterous, not rednecks, but I don't know the word, but I liked all of them. You know, maybe my flesh was attracted to them, but um, and she was very pretty. But and the first day I met her, you know, I had that thought initially. I was like, man, she is pretty. And then like a day later, I was totally exhausted from this remodel. I was like lifting shelves with this massive pole thing, and you prop it up on these metal things, and then you move an entire shelf, like literally the whole frickin' sorry, the whole store, you're like, just we're shifting it over 2 feet. Like that's the kind of things that I was doing. It's quite a bit of work. And I just concluded after a couple days, and I hadn't seen her. She went back to her store for a couple days, and then that next morning I saw her. She had come back, and I was just dumbfounded. I had concluded like she's not that attractive. You're just being an idiot as usual. And then I saw her again, and I was like, my God, she is magnificent. And I lost my mind at that point. But then, like I said, you bring it back to the Bible here. And you ask that question, like, is that appropriate for me to pursue something like that? Somebody that probably doesn't have any interest in God, or maybe I'm just assuming that. Or should I even be flirting with that? What if she leads me into prison or something? Or maybe she'll make my life miserable because she's into, I don't know what she's into. She's intense though. This woman was a maniac, but man, she was attractive. So anyway, I was looking at chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians, talking about marriage. Really, the emphasis here that I get away from this is if you're married, you should stay married. You should try to work it out. But if you're not married and you can tolerate not being married, then you shouldn't get married. I don't really see the unequally yoked line in chapter 7. But I could read it here just really quick. Just read through chapter 7 here. Just to, get some Bible in. And then I wanted to jump to 2 Corinthians because I know that's where that verse is. So let me just read this really quick, and we'll just kind of discuss what are your thoughts about, can you marry this magnificent non-believer, that maybe she doesn't, maybe she does, or maybe it would be by your influence that she would be saved, or is that not appropriate? Are you cursing your life by you marry this woman? Now you are devoted to her. And what is she devoted to? This woman was a maniac. I have no idea what she was devoted to, but she was so attractive. But anyway, let's read this chapter and see, I'm just idolizing her now too. And then I would be devoted to that. And what time would I have to devote to God then? And would that just be a mocking point for her, and then we'd end up getting divorced and all of our lives are ruined? You see? Horrible. Anyway, I'm going to read this chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians really quick, and then I'm going to go over there to 2 Corinthians, and I want to look at that verse talking about unequally yoked. And then if you could also, write down some other verses and we could talk about this more. I think this is a good subject to talk about, because there are so many people in my family, and I'm sure there are people in your families that, maybe you have a surface level belief in God, or maybe it's an institutional belief, but you don't really have a personal relationship, and you go to marry this lady. Are you marrying... why are you marrying this person? Why are you devoting yourself to this person when you're just going to dump this person next year or something? Because that's how it is with so many of my family members. They're all divorced or separated. We have an open marriage, or, different. It's just nuts. And then what does that do to the kids that get made then after that? I think of another family member, similar situation. Like, outside of marriage, what are you doing? And then doesn't it all just hurt the children? And then the children grow up to be, now look at that girl. She's so attractive, but she's so screwed up. At least that's what I see anyway. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misjudging her. Maybe she is just perfect. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to read this chapter 7, and then I'm going to jump to 2 Corinthians. So maybe we'll catch something here. I don't know. Chapter 7 of 1 Corinthians, verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So if I were to just, chase that woman over there, her brother's pretty scary, though. I don't think I'd be able to get away with that. He's like super tough redneck, like mechanic guy with a wrench that would smash my face in. So I don't think I'd be able to get away with that, but she's pretty scary too. She could probably beat me up also. So I don't think I would get away with this from any angle. But the point is, you're supposed to get married. If she's so beautiful. I mean, that's the intent, I think, of God, is everybody should find that other person to complete you, but do we find that other person? Or maybe I had the opportunity years ago with one of these tennis supermodels that I used to play tennis with, maybe it was one of them that I was supposed to be with. And I screwed that up, of course. And that was my opportunity that he was handing me, and I screwed it up. So now maybe I'm not meant to, or maybe I was never meant to be married. You think about it that way too. Like, let's keep going. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The wife hath not the power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. But I speak this by permission, and not of commandment. For I would that all men were even as I myself, but every man hath his proper gift of God, one after this manner, and another after that. Like by today's standards, people look at you like you're nuts if you're not married or you don't have like 3 girlfriends or something, Like I think people assume that there's something wrong with me. Well, but Paul, anyway, who's speaking here, he says he would like, if you are devoted to God, then stay devoted to Him and don't. But you see some of these women I deal with? My God, that woman. Okay. I say, therefore, to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. My bottom line with this whole discussion is the Lord's will be done, Like, if I'm not meant to be married, then I'm not meant to be with anybody, And if I am meant to be with super attractive maniac woman, then let it be so. God make it happen, Because I don't have any kind of charisma, or charm. Well, at least, I kind of belittle myself in that respect, and I don't think I do, but maybe I do. I just don't really apply it. But if God is going to make that happen, and it's meant to happen, then let it happen, you know? But as far as me, like chasing, I'll move to Genoa now, pursue this lady. Oh, she already has a boyfriend, 5 boyfriends. Well, that was a fail. Guess I'll go home now. You know, wasted a whole year moving all the way to Genoa, and she's already married, of course. But he's saying, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. My burning. It kind of sucks. You know, it's like, it's kind of disappointing, or, you know, is it lonely? Yeah, I take it or leave it, you know? That's what I conclude. Like, it's, if he wants it, he'll get it. If, but if not, you know, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now, then that's so be it, you know? But anyway, 10. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. And this is one of the biggest problems today with the United States. Like, so much divorce, so much family division and all that. My coworker mentioned the Paul Harvey "If I Were the Devil" speech, you know, and that's really emphasized in that recording, is this discussion point about marriage. Like, why do we not hold out and try to keep the marriage together rather than just... I did a clip once about divorce. It was kind of funny. I was talking about how we get divorced over nothing, like coffee and that kind of thing, you know. It's a funny little clip. It's in my short clips playlist. It's just called Divorce. You can check it out. But we divorce for such small things, but then marriage is such a foundational thing that God lays before us, and we just throw it away like it's nothing, you know? It's sad. And if I married this beautiful maniac, would she just get mad at me eventually and just divorce me? You know, if she doesn't have my perspective about God, then... Anyway, let's keep going. 10. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. But, and if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. It's really emphasizing that to stay together. And if you do separate, you know, don't go and marry somebody else. I think that's kind of the situation with one of my uncles and aunts. They're amazing people. They're military people. Tough, smart, super ninjas, you know, amazing people. And they're separated, but my aunt doesn't get married to another guy, you know. She does love him, and he loves her. It's an issue of climate, you know. He looks like me, but he's tougher and stronger. He's a super marine, you know, badass. And but his climate is more the cold, you know, the cold, wintry, Northman people, you know, Vikings. That's the kind of weather we like. Bitter and cold, wet snow. Versus beautiful Spanish princess lady, you know, she likes the warm, pleasant warmth of heat and sun and perfect tan, you know. So they can't get along, you know, as far as where they want to live, you know. She wants to live closer to her family, and he wants to live in the colder climate, so they can't, you know, so they're separated, but they're not, you know what I mean? It's kind of an example. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you if I offended you, but you know. 13. And the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. And the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. So 13 and 14, you end up having a child with somebody who's, that's fornication, right? But then you get married to that person to hide that sin, and then, but you're a believer, but the husband isn't a believer. You have a kid, so the kid is sanctified. That's what it's saying. I don't get it. I need help on that one. So if I go and chase that maniac woman, and she's not a believer, then it would be fine? I don't think so. We have to get to that unequally yoked verse. I'm getting there. I know I'm spending too much time rambling, but it's a big discussion point here. All right. But now are they holy. 15. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God hath called us to peace. I think of my aunt, her first husband. He was abusive, and she got out of that situation. You know, she wasn't obligated to stay in that situation. She got out of it. Poor kid. Yeah, sorry. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? Or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? But as God hath distributed to every man, as the Lord hath called every one, so let him walk. And so ordain I in all churches. Is any man called, being circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. Is any called in uncircumcision? Let him not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of God. Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. Art thou called, being a servant? Care not for it. But if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. For he that is called in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's free man. Likewise also he that is called, being free, is Christ's servant. Ye are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men. Brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with God. Now, I don't have a wife, and I'm not good at, like chasing women and bashing them over the head with a club, and, that's how the cavemen got their wives. See, I don't know how to do that, so but he's saying, brethren, Let every man wherein he is called therein abide with God. Was I called to be not married? Or was I called to be married, but I didn't effectively club her over the head? So now I'm not married. I don't know. Now concerning virgins, I have no commandment of the Lord, yet I give my judgment as one that hath obtained mercy of the Lord, to be faithful. I suppose therefore that this is good for the present distress. I say that it is good for a man so to be. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife. What if it becomes like a stumbling block for you? You know, I'm not talking about anybody. But, you know, let's say you start going insane about it. Like, I have to find a wife, otherwise I'll be dead. You know, and you're just losing your mind over it. And you can't find a wife because every woman around here is a maniac. She's attractive, though. My God. But anyway, but she's not interested in me. She's interested in some guy who's like a NASCAR fanatic, talks like this, has got that kind of voice, and he sings country music. Hello, you know, yeah, my father went to prison too. Hey, baby, you know, something like that. I don't know. She's interested in that, and she's not interested in God. So why should I be going after that? You know? Suppose that there's a good for the present distress, good for a man so to be. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife. But, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned, and if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh. But I spare you. So is 28 the verse I was thinking of? You end up getting married to this maniac, and now her father gets released from prison, and he's unsatisfied with this nerdy church boy my daughter married. What? You work at some stupid little store? Well, I want a cut from that store. You know, and you have to deal with something like that. You know? I don't know. I'm throwing out hypotheticals. I know it's nuts. But sounds like I'm going to have trouble. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh. In the flesh. But I spare you. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. That's something that I've been thinking of too. Like, how much time do we have left with the world the way it is, you know? Why should I be so concerned about wasting half of my time going on Christian Cafe? Hey, I'll put my profile on here, Church Maniac Boy. Hello, I'm 30-ish. I read the Bible, and I work at a store. And my likes are Star Trek, Bible, and favorite TV shows, 24, Star Trek. And I like pizza. And I'm interested in another Christian woman. That's it. Thank you. Submit. They see my picture. I look like this. And, and would I get any results? Should I waste half? So then I get a response. Hello, I'm 27 and blonde, and I work at this place, and let's go on a date. You know, should I spend all this time? And then I go on the date, and I find out she's a maniac, and she's not a Christian. But you go on Christian Cafe to do that, but there's not Christians on there, or they say they're Christians, and they're not Christians. And you can't find anybody because everyone around here is a maniac. So what am I supposed to do? It sounds like I'm not to worry about it, really. That seems to be the reassuring what he's saying here, you know? This I said, the time is short. Right. What time do I have to make that stupid profile and look for this woman on here? And it's not even, maybe he doesn't want me to get married. Like, what? And I work in a small type of grocery store, it's not all healthy food, it's like a convenience store. But I meet all kinds of women, you know? If God wants me to meet this woman, it's probably going to be one of the ladies that yell at me for, I didn't even know how to do a return. I just learned that last night. You know, I actually did meet another lady the other night, but that got screwed up because of a coworker saying something stupid. But if it's his will, then so be it. I think that's the bottom line. If it's not his will, then protect me from it, you know? And it sounds like I'm going to be miserable in verse 28 if I marry super attractive maniac genuine woman. She is super attractive. She is the most attractive woman I've seen in years. A little young, but so beautiful. But never mind. But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried careth for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. And that's really my concern. That's what I want to achieve, you know? If I marry this maniac woman, I'm going to be worried about my maniac woman and her maniac desires. But what time would I have then to devote to God? You know? Just cutting corners and, you know. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife. There is difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy, both in body and in spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of the world, how she may please her husband. And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that ye may attend upon the Lord without distraction. Without distraction. You want that. She is so beautiful. But at the same time, does her beauty become an idol to me? You know? Is it a distraction? Is it distracting me from what I'm really supposed to be doing? But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but hath power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, doeth well. So then he that giveth her in marriage doeth well, but he that giveth her not in marriage doeth better. The wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth, but if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the Lord. But she is happier if she so abide, after my judgment, and I think also that I have the Spirit of God. Also think of the culture in the Corinthian region there, Corinth. You're dealing with a lot of sexual promiscuity and lust and polytheism that promotes sexual immorality. And do what thou wilt. Go bang that, go bang that maniac. Do it. Whatever. Versus what God is saying, he's laying down a foundational societal law here, it's pretty important. Marriage should be a pretty important institution. But we just, yeah, just bang whatever. Yeah, it's America. Thank you. Bang whatever you want. That's us versus what God is saying. I want to go to that unequally yoked verse. I thought I marked it. I hope I marked it. It was in 7, I think. Oh God, I lost it. Where was it? Sorry, I'm going to have to pause and find it. Ah, I had it, and I lost it. Hang on. See, I had it, but it was 6. Separation and cleansing, starting at verse 11 there. O ye Corinthians, our mouth is open unto you, our heart is enlarged. Ye are not straitened in us, but ye are straitened in your own bowels. Now for a recompense in the same I speak as unto my children, but be ye also enlarged. Be ye not unequally yoked. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. There is a note here. Oh, it is. Come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Separation. Separation in Scripture is twofold, from whatever is contrary to the mind of God and unto God himself. That maniac woman, so beautiful. But she had like all of these tattoos, and like I said, foul mouth, and sex jokes every 2 seconds, and it's really the speech of everybody these days. What is the mind of God? Did she have that? Not to God himself. The underlying principle is that in a moral universe, it is impossible for God to fully bless and use his children who are in compromise or complicity with evil. Am I saying the maniac woman is evil? No. But she's certainly not interested in the mind of God putting that crap all over her body. Beautiful body. That God gave her, and how does she use it? You know? And let's say I go in unto that, and I chase that woman down to Genoa. Aren't I just... Who am I chasing? Am I chasing God, or am I chasing lust? Or I'm chasing the statue of Athena, or the statue of Aphrodite, or something, you know? It's the goddess of love. You know, she's chasing the idol of her beauty, this woman, you know? And her personality. She's very attractive. But maybe that's like Maybe that's like the Jezebel spirit. Maybe it's not, you know? Or maybe it was just my flesh thinking she was attractive, but when you think about it logically, she's not attractive. She's just an annoying little brat girl. And maybe I was just exhausted and I thought she was attractive, but she's not really attractive. The unequal yoke is anything which unites a child of God and an unbeliever in a common purpose. So it could be something else other than marriage. It could be a business proposition. I don't know. Oh. Deuteronomy 22:10. Separation from evil implies separation in desire, motive, and act from the world in the ethically bad sense of this present world system. See Revelation 13:8 note. And B, separation from believers, especially false teachers, who are vessels unto dishonor. I marry this woman, and let's say I continue reading the Bible. Wouldn't I just be like a hypocrite? Or, you know, because I would be, I don't know. Interesting, right? Second Timothy 2:20, 21, 2 John 9 through 11. 3. Separation is not from contact with evil in the world or the church, but from complicity with and conformity to it. I can talk to this woman. I can pick up a shelf that she flirtatiously hands me after I request I needed one of these shelves. And she's just like, oh, here's a shelf. You know, she's all, and, but, hmm. 4. The reward of separation is the full manifestation of the divine fatherhood. 2 Corinthians 6:17 and 18. Unhindered communion and worship and fruitful service. Fruitful service, that's like the key there. 2 Timothy 2:21. And that's what you want. How can God bless me or bless the situation if I marry this Jezebel personality, you know? I don't know. Maybe she's not that, but as world conformity involves the loss of these, though not of salvation, here as in all else, Christ is the model. Let's finish the note, and I wanted to say something related to that. He was holy, harmless, undefiled, and separate from sinners. Hebrews 7:26. And yet, in such contact with them for their salvation from sin, or sorry, in such contact with them for their salvation that the Pharisees, who illustrate the mechanical and ascetic conception of separation, judged him as having lost his Nazarite character. Luke 7:39. Which he didn't. He was perfect. And that's who we're striving for. We're striving for Christ. Does Christ want me to go into this, you know, or does he want me to remain separate from a yoke that is worldly and somebody who's interested in the world versus somebody who's interested in Jesus? And I was watching this pastor, Pastor Charles Lawson. He's a Texan Baptist preacher, old, tough Texan with guns on his. I don't know if he has that, but tough. And he was saying that what you should be seeking is somebody who loves Christ more than you. And that's, if you're married to somebody who, if you're a Christian, I think you should be trying to seek another Christian. As hard as that is to find around here, probably need to go somewhere else to find that. But should I be going after this beautiful lady? I don't think so. But maybe she'll find Christ one day, and then maybe. But as I see her now, I don't know if, as it appears right now, it doesn't look like I should be pursuing that, but maybe I don't really know her. Maybe I should try to get to know her better before I make that judgment about who she really is, but I don't know. Just what I see working with her doesn't seem like it would be appropriate for me to go after that. But anyway, I'm an old man anyway. She's pretty young, so it would probably be inappropriate anyway. But I say the Lord's will be done, and if I'm not to find anybody, then that's fine. His will be done. Maybe there's somebody else out there. His will be done, bottom line. And I don't think His will is for me to be yoked with somebody that is in love with this world. You're supposed to be yoked with somebody who is in love with God as much as you are. And that's what we should be striving for. So, anyway, I'll stop talking. Thank you. Goodbye.